This space is where grace meets elegance and your femininity meets purpose. Today, I want to guide you into a way of caring for yourself that honors God, radiates elegance, radiates softness, and magnetizes the right kind of people, the right kind of energy effortlessly. Hi, I'm Sky, and welcome to the Feminine Edit, Luxury on a Budget. Oh well, why now? Why today? Have you ever wondered if God really cares whether a woman is feminine or not? Have you ever wondered if femininity is biblical or not? Oh well, today I intend to answer that question with a testimony. You see, it was back in 2020. I just came out of a relationship, and yes, I was seeking God for healing and also for everything else in between. I figured, well, I might as well just pursue God with my life and find out what He has in store for me. And to my surprise, God started working on me on the inside and out. He started teaching me His word in a way that only He could teach me. As I went by, I learned to articulate myself. I learned how to speak properly just through the reading of the word. And later on, the Lord started leading me and guiding me into caring for my body and to how to wash my skin properly, how to bathe properly. The Lord was teaching me all these things. I know, hard to believe, but yeah, that's what happened to me. By the time the lockdown was lifted, I started going outside, and I looked very different. Because how I knew I was looking different was because I started attracting a different caliber of men and a different caliber of people that would not have looked at me twice if it had been the season before. Here's what happened. Now I start meeting these high quality men, but here was a problem. I had a little problem. I had no idea what I was doing because I didn't know how to talk to men. I didn't know how to respond to a man in a feminine way. I had no idea. So I would meet these men, and the next thing, a couple of days later, it would just quiet down. Something that was very promising would just disappear. So I went before the Lord again and I said, Lord, I am meeting these people. And they're really the kinds of people, the kinds of men I would like to associate myself with. But for some reason, it seems like I open my mouth and they disappear. And little beknownst to me, that's the question the Lord wanted me to ask. And the next morning, the Lord said, get up, bath, get ready. So I got up, I bathed, and I got ready and left the house. The Lord said, you're going to the mall. There is a mall nearby, Festival Mall. And I started walking there. While I was walking in that place, I was still outside, and I just felt like the Lord didn't want me to go inside the mall. Whatever I was there for was outside of the mall. So whilst I'm outside of the mall, there's a bunch of thrifters on the sidewalk, and I started walking on that sidewalk until something stopped me. This little book just jumped at me. It was a green little book, and I looked at it. It color popped. So I picked it up. And when I picked it up, the title was called Fascinating Womanhood. And I opened the first page. On the cover of the book was written, to my dearest daughter, with lots of love, Mom. I just knew. I knew I had found what I was looking for. the Lord had led me straight to that book, Fascinating Womanhood by Helen Adelaide. It was published in 1965, funny enough. And I leapt for joy. I left the mall immediately. In fact, I asked the lady how much it was, and she said it was only 20 Rand, I think. 10, 20 Rand there. And I paid for it. And I left. The date that this little note on the book was addressed, it was in 2017 October. And my mother only passed away in 2018 whilst she was overseas. I didn't get to see her and I didn't get to say goodbye. So this was confirmation. I started reading the book. And as I read the book, that little book changed my life. It talked about femininity in the Christian version of femininity. I was like, wow, I was blown away. And I remember as I went on, while I was halfway reading this book, I went on my knees and I cried. I said, Lord, how could you not let me see this book or find this information earlier? And the Lord said to me, had you found the information earlier, you would have convinced the wrong man to marry you. Whoa. Was that it? I stopped crying immediately and I started reading the book. I continued reading this book and doing the exercises that were in the book. To my surprise, every man around me reacted differently than before. They treated me so much better than I had ever been treated by men before. For the first time, I could see men in a different light, as kind human beings who wanted to help. That's what I started seeing. All of a sudden, a whole new world opened up to me. The months that went by, I went on dates that were absolutely incredible. I was cared for, I was taken care of in ways that were absolutely out of anything that I had ever thought was out of my reach. I never thought that there were men who were willing to pay bills for a woman. They paid my bills. They did stuff for me. And while all of this is happening, I never got to take off my clothes in any way, shape, or form. All of this was happening while I was celibate. Still am celibate. Been celibate. Okay. All of this was happening while I was living a godly life and experiencing a whole new world that I had never imagined possible. So the question is, does God really care if you are feminine or not? Of course he does. Because he wants you to be happy. I always say that God is a girl dad. I really believe that with all my heart. He is a girl dad. And he just wants you to be happy. He really does. It's such an amazing thing. And the other reason why he wants you in your feminine is because you worship him better when you are in your element. When you are relaxed, you worship God better. Yes. Now that's a little part of my testimony. A lot more has happened since then. You know, I remember walking into a store one day. It was a shoe store that sold also handbags. And I walked in that store. And suddenly it felt like everything came to a standstill. Even the men in the store, they just wanted to assist me. They were not working there, they were customers too, but they just wanted to assist me, you know. Until one of the ladies who worked there actually asked me, she said, "What do you bath with? You know, what is it that's making them all feel attracted to you?" And I said, "Nothing. I just bath as usual. It's not that." She didn't understand that I was in such a feminine softness that was magnetizing to the male species. That's how God designed the woman, in a way that when she's in her element, every man around her wants to serve her. Yeah. That was the time I learned that men, they love whom they serve. I learned that. It was an amazing lesson to learn, because we were taught that, oh no, we must always be doing. We must always be serving. No one taught us to be served by men. No one had ever taught us that, and I was learning that for the first time. Ah, oh, what a beautiful time. So yeah, today I am going to spill the beans. I am going to teach you some of the lessons that I learned from that moment till now. So you may ask, Sky, why now? Well, because it's time. In the book of Luke, chapter 1, verse 17, it says, "And he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elias, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord." The only way to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children is through the feminine. It is through the feminine. You see, this is something that I learned a few years ago. I learned that men, they love the children of the women that they love. That's what I learned. And it was amazing to find that, because it is by design. So, here's God's plan. He wants you to be in your feminine so much that even the fathers, the men in your life, will come to protect and form a family. They will have something to fight for. They will have something to pray for. When a woman is in her feminine, the men in her life, he wants to be family. And God is all for family. And once family is restored, once the family structure has been restored, guess what happens? Then all the hearts of the people will be turned back to God. God wants us as a whole before him. As a unit, the first ministry that God ever created was marriage. And right now, he's preparing you for a good one. And that's why he sent me